6 months ago, when I started out on this adventure of having a podcast and talking to you every single week, I had lots of dreams, lots of ideas, lots of thoughts on how that was going to look and go. And as always, with anything, it's changed, it's ebbed and flowed. But I have to be honest with you, this has been one of the most fun adventures of my life in the last 6 months, one of many. And I truly, truly appreciate that I put myself in a position to have this opportunity. And I say it that way because that's what we're going to talk about today is how do you set yourself up to get to have experiences that you can reflect on and say, gosh, this has been amazing. I'm about to embark on another one of those. I'm going to go off on the road for 5 weeks, and you're going to get to listen for the next month and a half or so to some of the most remarkable women that I have met along my journey in the last few years as an entrepreneur. It's been amazing. And I want you to hear from them firsthand. And so you're going to get to hear that while I'm out working from the road, living my best life, right? But what I really want us to get to today is how do you get to that place where you're living that best life? How do you get to the space where you're not regretting things, where you're not kind of begrudgingly getting out of bed and kind of dragging yourself through the to-do list of the day, but you're not finding your joy. You're not rediscovering the fun and joy and experience of life that we're supposed to be having. You're living a life that you should be having, and it doesn't feel good. No one ever wants to be shoulded on. Let me just say, certainly, most certainly, I would say not shoulding on themselves. So today's podcast is really my love letter to you. I want you to hear this and understand how I got myself here and that I have not, my friends, always been here. And I know that you might not be here yet either. You might still be in the trenches. This love letter is for you.
I know your deep, dark secret. You don't like your life. You're a woman in midlife, and for the past 2 decades or more, you've poured yourself in to other people. You've poured yourself into your career, your family, and yet on the inside, you feel broken. And that's no way to be. I'm Dr. Natalie Marr. I'm a clinical psychologist and a life transition expert. It wasn't too long ago that I was in your shoes, waking up in my early 40s, thinking I've got 2 failed marriages and I'm a single mom for the second time in my life. And I just knew that I could do better, that I could feel better. Fortunately for you, I have about 20 years experience clinically. And so I've created a method that will help you learn to love your story. I know that the story that you're telling yourself about your life feels awful. And I know that you think that you can't change that. I assure you, you can. And when we work together, I'm gonna help you to craft a different story, a story that you love, a story that makes you wanna get up every single day.
Welcome back. I can't wait to get started talking to you. This is just me to you. Nothing fancy today, just a few words of wisdom, wrapping up what I've been talking about, going after those big dreams. And I'll be honest, it started out that I had this podcast recorded. And when I went back to do the editing that I do every week, it all kinds of mumbo jumbo. But what I realized is it had stayed way too technical anyway. And I probably was going to want to add this little love letter piece to it. And now I've just decided, because I re-record it this morning as I'm going to post it, I'm just going to stick to the love letter part of it. This week I started a 2-part series, and don't worry, you didn't miss anything. I record these things so you can come back and you can watch it if you're in my free group coaching. But I recorded the first in my 2-part series on living a regret-free life. And that's a big deal, right? Because guess what, ladies? We're going to have some regrets. I'm just going to be real. It's not like, that you're going to live a life where you're always making the right choice, the choice that's going to bring you the most joy the first time. That's not how this works at all. Life is meant to have struggle. In fact, our literal neurobiology and nervous system is wired for us to go through struggle. I've talked about this before. We're like human adaptive machines. We are AI. We are what AI is based off of, if you want to think about it that way. We are intelligent. We are always going out into our world and evolving. There is no, I need to recreate me in my midlife. You need to keep evolving as you in your midlife. That's really what this is all about. And I think that there is one lesson in particular that was the most powerful for me. And it didn't happen until I was in the worst of the worst of the worst, right? Like it wasn't until I was really hitting a rock bottom. So let me tell you a little bit about this particular time in my life in 2018. This hour, even in 2018, I was still in a marriage, but I had literally just been handed information that I could not turn away from anymore. In fact, a few weeks before this, in the middle of May in 2018, I found my little butt parked on a park bench, watching my child play at the playground, living her best life, little 3-year-old self, while I was sitting there thinking to myself, oh my God, I had just learned something. I had tried to approach my ex with it. It did not go well. You know how this goes towards those end of those relationships. And I started to write out a list of all I was regretting, all that I like, and this I am going to miss out on because of this marriage, and this I'm going to miss out on because of this marriage. Because I was still sitting in that mindset that, man, if I walked away, it was a failure. Man, if I, gave this person that I had promised, a commitment to, an ultimatum that said, do what you need to do for your side of this, stay committed, and I'm in it with you. I'm in it to win it, or I got to walk. I just wasn't quite there yet, right? It was the middle of May. But by this time in 2018, my friends, I was a numbed out hot mess as I was moving about my house, packing things up, essentially. That's really where I was. I was trying to the best of my ability to keep my shit together for my kids' sake, right? But I really knew that the world, like the bottom had fallen out, that I had quite literally no idea what I was going to do next. I was 43 years old. I had a 3-year-old and I had a 15-year-old who was just about to enter high school. And we were heading into the summer ahead of that. I was moving into a 1-room, very small extra bedroom in my sister's house in the basement, 43. I worked at a group practice, was doing pretty well, actually. I had quite a great caseload, but I was only working a couple days a week. I was not going to be able to support myself. And I had financially hit rock bottom. In large part, that was parts of what broke up my last marriage. So I was like, oof. It was bleak. I'm not even going to lie to you. It was really bleak. It was not a great moment in my life. And I could sit here today and tell you how much I regret decisions I made that put me in that position. And that would bring me into a mindset that really is focusing on where I went wrong in my life, not where were my opportunities. What I'm going to sit here and tell you today is I have such respect and love for that version of me. If I could sit next to her, I would just hold her. I would just hug and love her and tell her that what she's doing is the right thing. And I'm getting a little emotional as I think about it, but I don't think of her choices as regrets. In fact, hers were courageous, very much so, because she was the turning point, right? But I don't even think of the person, in mid-May as somebody that I regret and her decision to keep plugging along for another few weeks. I don't regret the person that made the decisions to get into that. I don't regret any of them. I love all aspects of myself. And that has been the major shift in my life. And here is how I frame it for you. And here's how I want you to continue to frame it for yourself from this point forward in your midlife. Your life's purpose was set out before you ever took your first breath on this earth. Your life's work is you, my friend. That's it. You're going to get to have kids or marriages or jobs or friends or family that you also will be entangled with in your lifetime. And yes, you have responsibilities to all of those people and things, but your true life's purpose is you. So the idea of living a regret-free life isn't that we don't have moments of regret that then create discomfort, that we don't have even moments of huge struggle or small struggle that create discomfort and tell us something's got to shift. Of course, that's how life works. This is how we're wired to notice the struggles in our life. But the life purpose is, how much do I appreciate this woman that I am and that I am becoming? Like utterly becoming all moments of every day. How much am I loving on her? How much am I taking care of her? Because she is my life's purpose. And when I invest in her, she invests in all kinds of things that are very important to me and is better at doing it. Like that's the reality, my friends. So like there's no like I can and will give you lots of tools to live a regret-free life, but there's no real trick to here's how you live a regret-free life in 5 free steps. Like that's not how this works. It's work, it's effort. It's a daily showing up for yourself. It's a daily putting yourself first always on your list. Now, some of you are people who are godly people and that walk in a faith. Here's what I would challenge you to think. If there is that higher power that you believe in, that you are supposed to love above all things, what is the one thing that that power gave you? You, your soul, your spirit, your presence on this earth. And that is how you put that God first. Right. And for those of us that are more like, well, the universe, it's not really God to me, but I know that there's something that's a higher power there. Again, I want you to think about what is the literally just the one thing in this world that you have full control over. You. So stop getting mucked up and worried about getting mired down in your life by the things, by the careers, by the families, by the choices. Get invested in who you are as a person. That's what I want you to do for yourself. You, my love, are your life's purpose. And how you show up to her is done in all the little things of showing up each and every day. It isn't in grand gestures. It's in, did I make my bed so that the last thing I see today is that I did something for myself the first thing I did today? Did I make my cup of coffee because I want to drink it from home and not in a rush out of a McDonald's drive-through? It's in, am I choosing to put my self-care on my calendar and move other things around it rather than moving it around the other things in my life? And in every step, every small step like that, you're accruing an approach to yourself where you're going to be living in a regret-free life. Now, I do think that some of us are mired down at different times in our lives. And me, that version of me in 2018 was definitely there. And the tools that I'm providing to the free group coaching as I'm going on my 5-week trip, I've given you quite a bit actually to work with over the next several weeks, because I want you to really do an assessment of your life. And we start with time. Time sickness is kind of a symptom that really tells us that something's awry. Something is off for us when we have this kind of idea that we're always rushing, that there's always more that needs to get accomplished. Then I want you to sit in some of the tools that I'm going to give you and really think through, why am I rushing? Where am I going? What's happening here? What do I know about this time? Non-judgmentally, right? Show up compassionately with love with yourself and just look at where your hours are going every day. And then start looking at, like, if I look at the priority list, though, like, here are the values I have, here's what's important to me, here's where my time's being spent, where are the mishaps there? Really taking a look at that helps you to identify, just, you just kept doing the next right thing in front of you, and things went off course a little bit. But it'll help you to be able to really address where you need to bring them back online. Now, on my website at learntoloveyourstory.com, there is still the Dream Big workbook. So you can go there and download that. And that is a good starting place as well. But if you really want more in depth, then in the notes, you're going to see a link to join my free group coaching group. And I want you to first join it. And second, join the online Facebook group community where we'll be talking about using these tools throughout the summer. This is really the important linchpin piece, because another part of what we need is to be sure that we are also staying in community with one another, getting the support that we need so that we can pull this off, right? I could not have made it through 2018 without some major players in my life, some really good friends, a sister that I am indebted to for life. She's carried me out of more holes than I can tell you, but sometimes also can just bring me such joy in those moments. And, even my kids were one of the things that pulled me through that really dark time. But I am indebted to that woman that realized, as she was numbingly walking through and packing up her dream home from a marriage that was not going to work, I am indebted to her for taking on those really difficult times, so that I today can sit and reflect about, I've just done 6 months of a podcast and I love it. And I'm going to go on a 5-week working from home tour, and I'm happy about that. These are really important things to be thinking about. And I want to be sure that you have that kind of community. So be sure you're signing up for the free group coaching. You're also signing up for that free community. You're also going to be able to then listen to some of my antics on my trip, because I do plan to pop on from time to time, kind of give you guys a little firsthand glimpse of living your best life when you have finally kind of moved through something that was such a struggle for you. But please do something, anything, really. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Remember yourself. Stand up for yourself. Show up for yourself. There is real power in that, I promise you. There is real power in, even on our darkest days, remembering that we are our life's purpose. You want to be living in a life where you feel like you're living your best life, and that you can reflect most days on, oh, this is great. Like, even in the monotony of doing work and getting packed up, like, that's no fun. Getting prepared. There's a lot of things that I've been doing this week that have my hair pulling out, but I love my life. And you won't get there if you don't love who you are at all points of your life. Don't ever regret yourself. You, my friend, are your life's purpose. And you, my friend, are your own love story. And you, my friend, you are the love of your life. Remember that. And keep listening so that you too can keep getting the tools that you need to learn to love your story. All right, so I'm adding a little addition here. It's the legal stuff. Just so you're aware, nothing in any of these podcasts constitutes actual psychotherapy. Yes, I am a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of Minnesota, but everything here is just educational in nature and is a suggestion of things that you could be doing in your own life to learn how to love the life that you're in, instead of waiting for a life that you're dreaming of to come towards you. So just remember, this is not therapy. And if ever you need any resources for mental health, look in my notes, and I'll always have a little blurb at the bottom where you can click on a link and get those services for yourself.